We find out the reason why Luffy is so gung-ho for Loki in this chapter, and on top of that, we get some more Xebec. Okay, you have my attention. This chapter is short, but it is sweet, like a freshly plucked strawberry. It's beautiful, okay? Straight from Mother Earth has Achira Oda graced us with some more interesting Elbaf content. And Elbaf, true to form, to the old school style, really good so far. Is it as hype, octane, what the F, as the same as the end of Wano Country, Agate Island? No. All the reason why we're gonna be here for some time, at least another 2 years. But there are signs, all right? Whether it be the Big Mom mentions, whether it be more insight what's going on here with Loki and how he may be a much more important figure for the finale of the series than what we first thought. And then we have finally the Holy Knights on the move against Jinbei and company. Oh, this is gonna be good. Now, if you haven't seen my live stream reaction to this chapter, you know where to go. On the Cold Requiem YouTube channel, link in the box below, where I do all my read-through streams and other streams of that sort. Number one. Number two is that the anime is back. Oh, we're back at full force in the anime, and you know where to go for those. On my Cole-san YouTube channel, where I do all of my show and anime reactions, and they are all stem from what? The Patreon. That's right. Patreon. All links in the box below. Now, this chapter, break it down into its main parts: pace, character, story, and then overall, the rating. So let's get right into it. And first and foremost, we have the pace and chapter structure. This is pretty simple. This chapter has 3 parts to it, and this, I think, is a good thing. So normally, when it comes to One Piece, Oda will have so many parts, it's nauseating, particularly in high octane. Many characters are involved, battles, wars, whatever you want to call it. And a lot of times Oda will jump from person to person to person to person to person to person to person, and you're like, Oda, oh my God, please calm down. And every word I just said would have its own page. That's how Oda a lot of times does the pacing. Normally, when I go through a chapter review of any chapter of One Piece, I view smaller pace, meaning we have less parts. I view that as a better thing overall. On average, he gets like 5-6 parts done on average. But this chapter has around 3 parts to it. Number one, you have the hell area of Elbaf that took up most of the parts of the chapter in general. And you do have, of course, these time blips where time does speed up here and there for some transition scenes, for some gag moments. But all in all, the chapter has that one major part. Then from there we go to a minor part here with Scopper and the giants handling the Draugr and the nightmares that were formed by Kieran Graham's powers. And then we have Save the Kids token happening at the end of chapter part 3, where Jinbei catapults a gigantic cloud stream of water to do what the firefighters can't do. Be a man, be a man. This is why Jinbei has usurped Frankie in the position as father of the Straw Hat crew, alongside Robin as the mother, and now Frankie, he's in the corner in the cuck chair as the pervy grandma. And those are just the facts. Those are just the unfortunate facts. What was established in the pre-time skip has been completely chucked out of the window, and Jinbei continues to fortify his greatness as time goes on. But for how long though? Because at the end of the chapter, we got that JoJo's energy. Team Rocket sent Jessie, and she's all posed up. Gunko is here to spoil the fun. It felt very reminiscent of my boy NL when he pulled up on Usopp and Sanji and company, when he just diffed them. The same energy. So I don't think we're going to be getting a diff, because even though Shamrock glazed Gunko with copious amounts of sauce, all right? I mean, this man pulled out 3 baby oil bottles. He did a lot for Gunko, undeniably. Depending on how you view said translation, maybe Gunko is or is not, or could be in the purview of Loki's power, or maybe he means himself, Shamrock. It's hard to really gauge. But at the same time, no matter where you rank Gunko in power, wherever that is, the Straw Hats are a Yonko caliber crew. The Straw Hats are not to be trifled with on a regular basis. It would take any opposing pirate a long time to even get to see the Straw Hat, because other cats like Usopp, like Frankie or Jean Bear or Brook would handle. Obviously, Holy Knights be doing the most, duh. And Summers in this chapter way too hyped to see kids get exterminated. Way too hyped. This guy's gotta, nah, bro. He's gotta go to Arkham. Solitary confinement in Arkham. Yeah, he's that bad. He's that kind of bad. Let's keep it stacked right now. But that being said, overall, to get back on track here, the pace of this chapter, I think, is very good. Great, even. Character, we got to Summers before, but Summers is not necessarily new. And the main thing for character, like the most important bits I thought for character in this chapter were undeniably the Loki and the Rocks bits. So what Oda appears to be doing right now is correlating Loki and Luffy and then Rocks and Shanks. But it's like the inverse situation here. So in the same way that Shanks was Luffy's idol, pirate idol when he was a kid, and he is the reason why, not Goldie Roger, Shanks. Oh my God, here comes King of Lightning again with this. It's just the truth, okay? If you don't like it, don't blame me. Talk to Oda about it. The idol for Luffy as a pirate is Shanks. And Shanks is the reason why Luffy became a pirate in the first place. Now, you could argue that, well, he has the heart of a pirate anyway, so no matter what, he'd be a pirate. Fair enough, fine. But in chapter 1, Luffy himself states that he wants to become king of the pirates, not because of Goldie Roger stuff, but because he wants to prove that he has a better crew than Shanks. That is one of the primary onuses for Luffy to be king of the pirates, is the fact. It looks like Rocks had the heart and the soul and the eye of Loki, though bandaged even as a kid, which is kind of weird. So what's going on there? Okay, maybe the Satoru clan has more branches than we thought they would, and his limitless eyes are just busted as hell, so they had to be sealed when he was a kid. Whatever it is. But the idea is that Loki, he definitely admired Rocks the Xebec. And like Colin, who wanted to join Shanks's crew, he wanted to join Rocks' crew. And apparently he was pestering Rocks for a pretty long time. Now, I'm assuming they're on Elbaf for this situation. I don't see Loki as a kid leaving Elbaf that early on, but who knows? So that being said, when the Rocks Pirates visited Elbaf, Loki really wanted to join the Rocks Pirate crew. And we see in this chapter, he says, I was born in the wrong era. There's a lot of folks that say this for various reasons. I was born the wrong time, the wrong era, and a lot of that could be stemming from a deep-seated regret. He definitely wanted to join the Rocks Pirate crew. And he understands when he was a kid, obviously he had these rose-tinted glasses for sure. But nonetheless, Rocks is still a legendary figure, albeit hidden away from the history books, because we saw in the ultimate chapter that Sengoku had to tell the Marines, the Young Bucks, about Rocks and so on. He does have these rose-tinted glasses on when he's a kid. He understands that, but even still, even now, he wants to join Rocks' crew. However, there seems to be an inverse parallel here between how Rocks treated Loki and how Shanks treated Luffy. With Colin, he wants to join the crew, but Colin is not being harmed by Shanks, and I would assume even if Colin did challenge Shanks, maybe he'd get a lump or two. There is a situation here where we did see early on in the arc, we did see Colin fight against Luffy, but mind you, Colin did sneak Luffy, but at the same time, Colin is a kid, so going Gear 3 armor hockey is like, whoa. So fair enough, all right? Pirates be pirates. Pirates be pirates. A lot of times, child, woman, elderly, male, doesn't matter. You coming for the sauce, we're gonna match energy. You could be straight out of gestation. You wanna match energy? I mean, we saw Kaido and Yamato. You wanna be Oden? I bet. Prison. Okay, so pirates be doing the most sometimes. Listen, man, it's part of the pirate playbook. If pirates in this world did normal things, it'd be a very boring story. So them doing the weirdest what the F things, even though he's a giant with a giant club, makes you question, hey, is Kaido's club a hand-me-down? And you could say, well, I mean, if the theories are right to where Harald does have another kid in, let's say, another part of the world, like the Vaca Kingdom where Kaido was born, maybe. I mean, they do look very similar, so it's possible. And you may say, well, hold on, whoa, King. Loki, though a kid, still a Titan, right? Kaido had that when he's a kid too, doesn't match the size. Tell that to Zoro and Oden for the size of Enma. Ooh. Dude, I'm just saying. Oda and size scaling, let's not go down that rabbit hole anytime soon right now. But let's just focus on the task at hand. Shanks treats Colin and Luffy differently than Rocks treated Loki, for damn sure. Rocks stabbed Loki. He took out a blade. Mihawk suckers. He took out a blade and he shed blood to the point where even Whitebeard says, bro, really? So you know it's pretty hardcore when Whitebeard has to say, yo, what the hell was that? But on the flip side, you have Luffy, who stabbed himself to prove his manhood to Shanks, and Shanks and the boys freaked out, like, what are you doing, Nani? Because Loki was pestering Rocks for a bit of time, it's not like, let's say it was the first time they had their meeting. It was over the course of X amount of days, weeks, maybe months, maybe even on Elbaf, to where Loki got accustomed to Rocks and then tried to join the crew. Rocks like, nah, stop, whatever. It's an inverse parallel here where Rocks does the harm to Loki. And it is in lockstep with a lot of the hearsay about the Rocks pirates, where the Rocks pirates were a pretty brutal crew. They would fight and kill each other on a regular basis, and they were very disorderly. They were very chaotic, disorderly, but Rocks himself was such a figure that he could lead all these people, though a lot of chaos did reign. And a lot of their agendas were all over the place too. Absolute. So the fact that Rocks has this old school Michael Jordan mentality, F them kids, even though it's crazy, I'm not that surprised. And I don't see in the same vein as like Luffy fighting Colin to see how good Colin is in power. No, what Rocks did is clearly extreme, but even still, Loki says I was born in the wrong era. He still wants to be a member of the Rocks pirate crew. It kind of gives, you could argue, Loki a lot more credence to the story of One Piece, because he has, you can argue, the same mindset as someone like Blackbeard. In this chapter, when they talk about the Holy Knights and how he must have done something very egregious to piss them off, and he's like, what are you talking about, bro? If I had gone far enough to run into them when I was out there at sea, then he'd be king of the world by now. That's what he says, and that's bolded, king of the world. It's the same thing we saw with Rocks. Blackbeard, Mr. All Day, Every Day, 24/7, 365. Yeah, he does share the same mindset too, about being king of the world. So Rocks has had more impact on the world than first perceived, because Loki having similar mindset, just how Luffy has a similar mindset to Shanks, that Shanks got also from Roger and so on, right? These things matter. The inherited will of a lot of the characters of yore has trickled down even to the current generation. And the fact that Loki is such a prominent force that the Holy Knights want to recruit him and has a special bounty, 2.6 plus bill, he's not anything to scoff at. So Loki, I think, is now guaranteed. He's not going to be a character only for this arc to be focused on. He's going to be a major player for sure in the future, undeniably now. If there's any doubts before, there are none now. Particularly, let's say, for example, if there is a battle for the One Piece, you have folks that have opposing inherited wills face off against each other in some respect. So you could have if Loki truly is that much of a force to where he warrants, even come at that point in time, a stronger version of Luffy to fight 1v1, you could have a Blackbeard and Shanks, and you have a Loki and Luffy. There are theories about how Kid, he's still alive, he'll come back to the story and actually be on Blackbeard's team, but in reality, it could be Loki. So this, I think, does give Loki more credence in the story, I think, guaranteed now. The doubts were pretty minuscule that he wouldn't be a character that'd be important in the future, but I think now it's almost a guarantee. Yay, absolutely, it's a guaranteed, all doubts washed away. And also, real quick, if you're thinking that was the first time you ever heard Rock speak in this chapter, no. We have heard Rocks in the past talk before, like for example, chapter 1096, where we do have a text bubble. We don't see him, but we see God Valley, we see hockey bolts in the air, and then we do have him talking to Roger. He says, and I quote, "Out of my way, Roger." After that, for character, last part for character, we have Scopper. Scopper, he is clearly observation goated. And I'm kind of thinking it's in the same vein as Rayleigh on Ruskina, but probably better than Ruskina Rayleigh, when he could sense the levels of the beasts that were in the area and how strong they were relative to Luffy at that point in time in the story. But he's able to sense now 3 presences, not presence, presences. He can sense the presence of 3 people, okay? Now it's 3 people that are trying to hide it. It's interesting, all right? According to Scopper, they're trying to hide their presence, but he can still sense their presence even though they're trying to snuff it out. The Hunter x Hunter Zetsu cannot escape the eye of Sauron that Gabon is rocking. I see you. Okay. It looks like right now Gabon is not only perceiving better than Rayleigh in some respects, but also he notes how these are abnormal voices. You would think, okay, well, they're power users, and that could be the reason why they're abnormal voices. But I'm also reminded of chapter 1094. In chapter 1094, when Saturn arrives to the island, beforehand at least, and we have all the lightning and the fire, Jinbei has a line where he says that Saturn's presence is unearthly. Abnormal voices, unearthly presence. We clearly have a similarity here between the Holy Knights and the 5 Elders, where they're apparently marked. They're all marked because they can all use magic, quote unquote, magic teleportation, end quote. And I'm thinking the reason why their voices are abnormal is because of that. Not their powers or their mindsets. No, I think it's because of their connections to the abyss. Because they, at any point in time, can teleport out back to the Holy Land because they can travel through the abyss. I think that's the key reason. That is the cornerstone reason why Scopper is saying that these voices are abnormal. That's what I think. It's more Scopper glaze, and we are absolutely here for it. So that is character, and now finally, story progression. For story progression, we do have 1, news about Big Mom. Not current news, but apparently in the past, there was a giant expedition to try and vanquish Big Mom, and that failed. But that's the reason why Goldberg's shield that we saw in that first cover for One Piece way back when, that shield had a mouth and a tongue and saw an eyes. It's a homie. And it's kind of funny to hear that there are certain homies that are more distinguished than other homies. And Zeus is a very distinguished homie, because I'm guessing because it has a piece of Big Mom's actual soul. And this shield homie could have someone else's soul inside of it. This is news because this is actually after Big Mom got her powers from eating Mother Caramel. This does not involve what happened in the Big Mom flashback back during Whole Cake Island. Some giants, in a very similar manner to how we found out during Wano Country that some samurai, they went early, they waited only 10 years, and then they tried to raid Onigashima and they all died. And that was all the way back in chapter 950 when Ashura Doji had some samurai comrades that were too eager and they didn't fully believe in Toki's prophecy. So they went a decade early before the promised time to Onigashima, and they all died. Well, in the same vein here, it looks like some giants, because of their grudge against Big Mom, they're trying to take out Big Mom, but they failed. So this is more Big Mom glaze, and we're here for it. Rest in peace, Goldberg's dad, but they failed. That grudge that they have is a deep-seated, long-lasting grudge. And you can argue that because we're getting talked about Big Mom, it is a sign that she will be coming to this arc at some point in the future to settle the scores and get things done as it should be, because it makes the most sense. It's what's best, I would argue, for the story. Number 2 is that we finally now know the reason why Luffy is so gung-ho about Loki. And it's because Loki apparently has a way for Luffy to find Shanks. He knows where Shanks is located. If there's a way he has to actually reach Shanks, it might be a Vivre card. We don't know the exact details as to how/why Shanks ran into Loki before he was subdued, who knows? But it could involve that, where if there is a way that he knows how to find Shanks, it'd be through a Vivre card. That's what I think personally. Shanks is on a ship, he's mobile. He can be in any of his territories or somewhere else just chilling, drinking. Who's to really say where Shanks could be, right? You can't go like X marks the spot on the map and there's Shanks gonna stay there. Let's say like a monk meditating for years on end in the same spot, or you have a satellite over Shanks, or maybe his powers. You know what? Maybe his powers allow him to do what Viola does, but on a way bigger scale. Like, for example, if you don't know, Viola and Dressrosa could see the entire distance of the United States of America, from New York to California with her Senringan. But maybe Loki can do something similar with his eye powers, but it takes a huge toll on him, hence why his eyes are bandaged up. If it's not, let's say, an aesthetic and it's actually for a purpose. Best bet is with Ricard, or maybe Loki knows about a Shanks spot where Shanks tends to go to. Maybe in the past we've seen it before, like let's say when Mihawk met Shanks or Ace met Shanks, who knows? Finally, for story, we do have the fire in that one branch. Branch 8 was put out and the kids are safe. Are the crew safe? It depends on how Gunko performs, but are the kids safe? Yes, and that is beautiful. So on that note, this chapter I thought was a pretty good chapter. I don't think it's anything too crazy, too out of pocket. I would give it like a 7 out of 10 on my book for my final rating for this chapter. But let me know your stance on the subject matter at hand. If you enjoy your boys' video content, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, click on that bell to join the notification squad. I'm gonna see you guys and gals on the flip side.
See you. Bye bye.